Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tracy and yeah, let me fix my hair. So, yes, I have a friend who manifested a camera worth $8,000 using law of attraction. Now, I love these stories, especially if they're coming from people who are subscribed to me or my friends, because people can be skeptical about such stuff, but I keep telling you, this thing works. It works in very mysterious ways if you let it. Now, I'm sure all of you want to know how that happens. So, this friend of mine, we were having a conversation one day. He's a guy, and he was all stressed up. Part of being an empath is very stressful because if you're stressed out, there are very high chances that I will feel it. It's like I morph into you for a minute when you're talking to me. I can literally feel what you're feeling. So I could sense he was stressed out, and he kept telling me, "Nah, it's okay, whatever." And then he finally broke. And he told me that he wants to start a career in photography, but he's starting to think, okay, so I really need a high def camera, and he does not have the money. Nini, I just let him talk because the minute he said, I want a high def camera and I don't have the money for it, the answer was already in my head. But I decided, I do not want to stop him. Let him continue, let him pour his heart out. Then I'm gonna tell him exactly how he's going to go about it. Now, speaking to ladies or women is easier than guys, because women, we tend to believe more. We tend to be more in our feelings, so we can manifest faster and better than guys. But at the same time, when someone is vulnerable, vulnerability and sadness, those are emotions. And I keep telling you guys, you can be an alchemist of emotion. An alchemist turns something into something else. You can be an alchemist of emotion. You can use that sadness, that anger, that devastation, that frustration to your own benefit. So long as it's an emotion, it's just energy. So now, this guy tells me, oh, and he finishes. So I asked him, okay, so how open are you to actually receiving the camera? Then he's like, honestly, right now I feel like I need it so much, and I don't know where I'm going to get the money. And then I told him, okay, so there's this thing I keep talking about called law of attraction. And he's like, how long will it take before it comes? So in my mind right now, at that time, I was like, he's not ready, because if someone is desperate, there are very high chances that they are impatient. You cannot really start telling someone, okay, you have to really fully trust the universe, because it might take a year, it may take 6 months. Someone who's desperate doesn't want to hear that. So I knew that was what they did to tell him, so I relaxed. The other time that we met, we had lunch and at his place actually, and I decided to slide in and just tell him about this. So I was like, let me tell you something. That camera that you want is 800,000 shillings, right? He's like, yes, it's 800,000 shillings if you include all the lenses he wanted. And I was like, let me tell you something. See, most of us, but because of society, we have been programmed to think that the only way to get what we want is through money, which is not true. Let me tell you something. I have been given and have found the most amazing things, very random situations by very random people. Actually, I'm gonna make another video. Yeah, a total stranger just gave me $100. Anyway, yeah, so just strange things like that. So I told him, how open are you really to getting this camera? I asked him again, and he was like, okay, so you know what, you keep talking about this and I've seen it work for you, so let me try. So I was like, listen, right now, I want you to just imagine yourself with that camera. How does it feel in your hands? Like, how are you going to wear it? Imagine yourself with the. And he was like, actually, he went to, I don't know if it was Nikon or Canon. I can't. I. One of those. He was like, he actually held it in his hands one day, and he felt this rush of emotion. Now, me mentioning, whether he had touched it or seen this camera before brought back some memories that he had of the day that he actually saw and felt that camera. So he started getting excited, and in my mind, it went, there is the emotion. Because once you are in your feelings, you are in the vortex, and that's what we want to get you in the vortex. So now, this guy tells me, yeah, actually, so I can immediately tell he's excited. So he tells me, actually, it feels amazing. It would feel amazing if I had this camera. And I'm like, just stay there for just a little bit. And now I just want you to tell the universe, you know what? Surprise me. I really need this camera. You know what? It will help me so much. It will help me and my family so much because I know I'm a good photographer. So I told him to stay in that feeling of what he could accomplish with the camera and everything. And that will make, the momentum to start going to bring him the camera. So yeah, that's what happens. And I didn't speak to him really for about 3 months until he called me. So he calls me excited. He's like, Tracy, actually, you know something, the most weirdest thing happened. And then he hung up. So I'm like, okay, so what's going on? Then he sent me a picture on WhatsApp of him holding a camera. So I'm like, oh, is that the camera that you wanted? Yay, who gave it to you? Da, da. And he's like, I didn't borrow it, actually, this is mine. So he tells me of the story where he was in his house one day, one Saturday. He completely didn't feel like going anywhere. No one had plans. Like, it was just one boring Saturday, and he had a phone call, and the mom was like, oh, you need to come because we have a family gathering tomorrow. Now on Sunday we have a family gathering and everything, so I want you to come because I want you to drive to go take, I don't know, your grandparents somewhere, something like that. So he's like, okay. So he told me, since he had no plans, he just went. He actually just had a shower and went home. So during the family gathering, fast forward to the family gathering, so many people showed up. Like, family gatherings, sometimes people don't come, but then that particular family gathering, like people who are even in the US came, from his family and whatever. So yeah, so in the midst of all this, because I don't even want to spoil for you guys. So he is helping with serving food to the grandparents and everything. And then one of his uncles walks up to him and is like, "Oh, hi. We'll call him David. This friend of mine will call him David." He's like, "Oh, hi, David. So how are you doing? What do you do nowadays?" He's like, "Actually, I'm in film school. Da da da." And they start talking. They hit it off. His uncle is a lawyer, right? He's not been around actually for a long time, but he like, they're just talking. And then the uncle was like, actually, oh, you're in film school. Oh, so what do you do? What do you plan on doing? He's like, oh, so my friend, this what do I call him, David, he's like, oh yeah, actually, the only reason why I haven't started my own photography company is because I don't have a certain camera that I need. And then the uncle goes, oh, actually, you know what? I have, my company gave me this camera and I don't even know what to do with it. I'll just send it to your mom. And then, like, my friend was like, okay. So of course in his head he was like, oh, maybe it's just a small camera. You know how old people don't even know like a lot of technology. So in his head he was like, oh, okay, that will be awesome. At least I'll have somewhere to start with, da da da, like that. So the uncle went, the family gathering was over and everything. So one day he's at home and the mom called him and he's like, actually, your uncle sent you a camera. You should come home and pick it. So he waited for a week to go get it because he was not excited. He just thought maybe it was a small camera or whatever. He was not excited. When he went home and he saw the huge box, he told me he knew. He told me right at that moment when he saw the box, he knew. Tell me that is not amazing. He opened the box and he found the exact camera he wanted. The exact camera he wanted with all the lenses. You can imagine how freaked out he was. Because the trick here is, stop putting up roadblocks for yourself. You don't need, because in his mind he was calculating, where am I going to get 800,000 shillings to buy a camera and lenses, Because if I had 800,000 right now, I will be thinking of buying a camera. I will be thinking of doing this, doing that. So the universe brought it in such a weird way. The first synchronicity was when he was randomly called to go home. And then he didn't have anything to do that weekend, so he went. Actually, the lesson from this is um whatever is yours, you don't have to steal, fight, argue, kill, stab anyone for it, because if it's yours, it's yours. Even though it is across the world, whatever is yours is yours. You don't have to really fight for it. So yeah, so right now he's happy. He already has his camera. I think he's doing YouTube videos. And yeah, that I thought that was such a beautiful story, because and this uncle of his, I don't know where he is. I think either Nigeria or Canada, one of those two. I can't remember. Maybe I'm mixing stories, but he doesn't stay in the country. What are the odds that the uncle was in the country at the right time, and the uncle was given this camera as a present, and he didn't know what to do with it. Both of them were in the same family gathering at the same time, and they bumped into each other. Can you see? You don't limit the universe. Whatever it is that you want is there. So yeah, anyway, yes, you guys continue sending me your amazing stories, and I'll make sure to also share mine. And yeah, have a nice day. Bye.